Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another weekly tarot reading. My name is Lauren, and if you're new here, hello, welcome. I am very happy to have you here. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for all your support. I am very excited to help guide you through the energies of the upcoming week. And as always, my intention for these messages is that they will always reach the right person at the exact moment, the exact right moment that they need to. And nothing will ever miss you. Everything that you need to hear will always be received by you at exactly the right moment in time. That is my intention, and I do these readings with love and for the highest intention of everyone involved. These readings are done every Monday to help us prepare for the week ahead. So if that's something that you enjoy, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'd love to have you here. And of course, I'm really grateful for those who have subscribed and return each week. You guys are the ones that I do this for. So thank you for being here. And I want to encourage you as well to, as I go through the reading, to just take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Tarot cards are always a tool for reflection. So please feel free to interpret the message as they best resonate for you and your journey right now. And remember that you always have free will as well. That's very important. So if you see anything else in the cards, a symbol, maybe a color, an animal, a number, anything else that speaks to you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Please let me know. And today we will be working with the Starseed Oracle, which is by Rebecca Campbell. Then we have the Radiant Rider-Waite Smith deck over here. And then we have the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. So as I shuffle the cards, I want to encourage you to take a deep breath and center yourself for the reading. So just a deep breath in and release. There we go. So as I am shuffling these, I am focusing on the energies of the upcoming week, what it is that we need to know, what guidance will be most beneficial for us as we move through this week. What does Spirit really want to communicate with you this week? What that you need to know? And, oh, goodness me. There we go. Okay. Empathetic starseed. Energetic sovereignty. Absorbing what is not yours. I feel like we've had this card before, a couple of readings ago. And, I definitely get the sense that because energies are so intense right now, that this is a really good reminder to just protect your energetic boundaries, because there is so much that's constantly fighting for our attention, for our energy, for our, just occupying a slice of our brain, a slice of our memory, a slice of our life, really. There's constantly being fights about, who can get our attention, who can, draw the most of our attention. Like if you just think about things like smartphones, advertising, marketing, there's all of these things that are trying desperately to get our attention, and attention has become one of the hottest commodities in the modern world. And that attention that we are talking about is so closely linked to our energy, what is your energetic body? You know, it is literally what you are placing your focus on in this world as well. So when we are focused on external things, we are giving away our energy and our power instead of being sovereign, being energetically sovereign, meaning that we are in control of our own energy, our own attention. I listened to a talk recently by Carolyn Miss, and if you're not familiar with her, she is a brilliant spiritual worker. She does a lot of she's done a lot of archetypal work. She has a deck as well, which is an archetypal deck. And she was specifically talking about how we can sometimes allow our energy to bleed out because we are not sovereign of our energy and we are not always in control of our energy. It was a very, very interesting talk on YouTube. I can't remember what the name is, but I'll see if I can link it below. And you can go and have a watch for that video because I think it was just such a powerful video. And I mean, here we've got the King of Cups, which is amazing for that card to come out because, you know, the King of Cups is all about being energetically sovereign. You know, the King of Cups is all about emotions and being in perfect control of your emotions. So that is somebody who's really got their, you know what, together, and who knows exactly what it is that they, what's going on in their emotional sphere, but they don't allow it to overwhelm them anymore. So sometimes we'll still see that little bit of emotional overwhelm in the Queen of Cups, but by the time it has reached the King of Cups, this is no longer an issue. We are in perfect balance and harmony with our emotions. Even though we'll allow ourselves to feel our emotions, we don't allow them to overwhelm us. We won't be swept away by our emotions. And I'm just pointing out that we've got both the Nine of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles in the background here. So that's really lovely as well for us. But let's go ahead and look at these individually. Sorry about the lighting today. It's I mean, the sun is beautiful, but it is a little bit intense. So I do hope that you can see the cards. I'll do my best to show them to you on the camera as we move through the reading. But yeah, it is, the sun is changing here. We're moving into summer in the Southern Hemisphere, which I'm really excited about. But it is wreaking havoc a little bit with my recording times. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have the King of Cups, and this is someone who's genuinely really got their emotions together. So if you are somebody who is an empathic starseed, then you might feel that it is difficult for you, or maybe it was difficult for you in the past to get a handle on this. Maybe it's a little bit easier for you over the years. Maybe you have learned how to better deal with this, or maybe this is something that you're still learning to do. But I feel like with this King of Cups coming out here, that this is reinforcing that you are getting to that space, if you're not already there, where you are becoming more sovereign within yourself, more able to manage your own emotions without allowing the outside world to influence you as strongly as maybe it did before. And even if that's incremental, you know, even if that's just a small improvement that you can see within yourself, celebrate that, because it takes a lot for us to sometimes be able to do that, especially when we are somebody who identifies as like a highly sensitive person. You know, this is something that I had to go through in my life. You know, when I was a child, I was always very, very emotional, very, very sensitive to everybody's feelings around me. And I have had to learn over the years how to pull back my own energy and not extend energetic cords into every single person that needs them, because I want to help so much, you know. So it's a beautiful quality for us, for those of us who are in the healing space, who really genuinely care for everybody around us and want to help to heal other people, that if you are not protecting your energy and allowing yourself to actually create that sort of energetic boundary around yourself, you can easily take on way too much of other people's emotions, take on way too much of their problems, their feelings, etc., and actually have your energy drained, you know. And we can, if you're familiar with energetic cords, people can literally throw cords towards us. They can actually attach themselves to certain parts of our energy field, or even into our very deeply into our chakra systems. And that can actually drain our life force and our essence in a specific area of our life. So for example, I was listening to another video this weekend about spiritual contracts and how those are often rooted deeply into our sacral chakra. And your sacral chakra has a lot to do with your personal power. So if you have draining relationships or relationship contracts in your life with somebody specific, even if they're not necessarily in your life anymore, even if they're not talking to you, but they still have an energetic cord attached to you in your sacral, you are going to experience a loss of sacral power, aka your life force power, what drives you forward and actually ignites you in your spirit. So I do just want to read the book, the meaning of the book for this card as well. Let me just find that in the book and I can read it to you. So this 64, let me skip ahead here. All right, so it says, empathic star seeds are here to shift the world through their physical presence alone. They don't need to do anything beyond being here. Thanks to the energetic change their physical presence causes. Due to their highly sensitive nature, which is what I just mentioned, empathic star seeds can struggle with being on Earth and in a physical body. We definitely got this card a couple of weeks ago, so it's funny that it's coming out again. Many are prone to addiction and depression, or tend to mistake other people's feelings and moods for their own. Natural introverts, they tend to prefer spending time alone or in small groups. Crowds can be overwhelming for them. If this card appears, consider lightening the load energetically. Don't put yourself under such pressure to go out into the world. Be gentle with yourself. So maybe we need a little bit of a hermit mode. I don't know if you're feeling that right now. Maybe you have been just feeling a little bit drained. You know, I've actually been feeling this, and I've been thinking I'm going to do about a 3-month until the end of the year. A little bit of a hermit mode so that I can actually reset my own energy and really pull back into myself and focus on, okay, what is it who do I want to become? What kind of person do I genuinely see myself being? What does she look like? How does she show up? And then pulling away from anything else that's going on in my life right now, except for the most important things, so that I can genuinely start to build that version of myself, because I can feel like as well there's a transformation coming. And I think not just for myself, but for a lot of people that are experiencing right now. So if that's you as well, this is definitely an encouragement to take a little bit of that extra time that you might need to really think about, you know, who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? What kind of person do I want to be? I listened to as well. I had like a full weekend of listening to, you know, podcasts and YouTube videos this weekend. So I'll keep referencing them probably throughout this reading. But there was, you know, a clip that I watched as well about imagining your perfect day. So when you wake up in the morning, just spending just a couple minutes thinking about, with your eyes closed, visualizing if you can, thinking about what does your perfect day look like today? What does a really beautiful, perfect, limitlessly perfect day for you look like? With no qualifications in terms of how much money you have or how many people you have around you, how much time you have, etc. So just like a limitlessly beautiful, perfect day. What does that look like for you? What are the kinds of things that happen? What are the interactions that you have? What kind of people do you meet? What things do you see? And these people were talking about this, and they were saying, you know, since they started doing this, it's been amazing to see how many of those things that they've pictured in their mind has actually come into reality. So that's another good practice for us to do. And similarly, what I'm talking about doing this 3-month introspection, where it's a similar thing. It's just on a deeper level. It's like, what does my perfect life look like? So maybe you're being encouraged to do that as well. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason that I told you that long-winded story right now, from a personal share. So maybe you needed to hear that as well. Maybe that is something that you would like to do as well. Let me know in the comments down below if that is something that you would like to do. I'd love to hear about, what does your perfect life look like? What does a perfect day look like for you even? Write it in the comments and manifest that for yourself. I think it would be really beautiful to share that vision with you. So I'm going to finish reading this entry. It says, allow extra time and care to recover energetically. If you're feeling pressured to keep up a certain pace, instead put on the brakes and treat yourself like a precious baby. Do whatever you can to take the pressures of the world off your plate. Switch off to switch back on. In today's world, it's normal to feel that we should be doing more. But perhaps being present in our life is enough. This could be a phase you're going through, or simply how you're being called to live your life. If your work involves giving to others, right now you're being called to keep something for yourself. You don't need to transmute it all. It's okay to look after your own growth and healing before you should offer it to the world. Indeed, it's necessary if you want to continue to do so sustainably. And it's interesting that the world was mentioned in that, because I'm looking at this 2 of Wands. And this is a card of wanting to go out into the world, wanting to share maybe a vision with the world, or explore the world and see what is out there in the world. And I mean, that's great. That's a really fantastic thing to be able to do that. But sometimes it's just about the timing isn't 100% ready. So this person is looking out at all the possibilities and observing what is possible, but they are not quite making a move just yet. They are still observing the scene. They are still seeing, okay, well, what does this world look like? Where do I want to go? What kind of trip do I want to have? It's like, if you're planning an overseas holiday, maybe you are really one of those like spontaneous people who just hops on a plane and flies to a foreign country and kind of just sees what happens. But, for a lot of us, it is better for us to be able to do a little bit of research and see, okay, well, I only have a certain amount of time in this place. What do I want to focus on while I'm there? What kind of things do I want to see? Where do I want to go? What's the most important thing for me to explore? And life is very similar. So again, going back to this concept of, if you are visualizing, what does your perfect life look like? What does your perfect day look like? What does the perfect version of you look like? It is worth planning that out. It's worth retreating a little bit and then spending a bit more time actually really visualizing that for yourself, really thinking about like, okay, well, if I didn't have to also help everybody else, if I didn't have to think about everybody else, what would I want my life to look like? If I were to be, and I'm going to use a triggering word here, if I were to be selfish, what is it that I would want to do? If I didn't have to think about anybody else, if I could just tend to myself and my own garden, water my own plants, stock up my own money and not have to share it with anybody else, what would I want it to look like? What does that look like for me? And I say triggering in terms of the word selfish, because we have all been taught, I think, well, not maybe all of us, but a lot of us have been taught that looking after ourselves and putting ourselves first, as is this woman in the Nine of Pentacles, is considered to be a bad thing. It's considered to be a selfish act. And the word selfishness in and of itself has been very much demonized to the point that we don't want to be called selfish. We don't want to be thought of as selfish. And we kind of, it's become such a vilified quality that I think a lot of us have put that into our shadows. And actually, there isn't really anything wrong with being selfish. It's important actually for us to sometimes be selfish in the sense of, I am taking care of my own needs first. I am making sure that I have what I need in order to make sure that my cup is neither maybe spilling over, which is great. People always talk about that. Don't pour from an empty cup. Fill your cup first and then allow it to overflow. But maybe it's also about having that balance, maintaining, like, do I have enough? Am I giving enough? But am I also keeping some for myself? Do I have a nice, healthy, balanced cup? It's not maybe like overflowing and messing all over the floor, but it's also not empty. So maybe that is something that you need to strive for now as well, is really finding that balance between giving and receiving, keeping some for yourself, being a little bit selfish, in the sense of, okay, I am going to take care of my own needs right now, because this is what will help me to show up better in my life, to show up to be that version of myself that I genuinely want to be. And to be the person that can help other people in my life without absorbing too much of what they are experiencing, without feeling like I have to give so much all the time, really just kind of keeping that in mind when you are going through that process. And then we also have the Six of Swords in reverse, and the Six of Swords usually talks about moving on from hard times, but it is in the reverse in this position. So for me, I do feel like it is maybe a time to go again. It's reiterating this time of going inside, going internally to really explore, okay, what is it that I need? What is it that I need to maybe move on from? What is not serving me anymore? I think we had this as well in last week's reading, where I talked about, we need to sometimes move on from the people, the things, the situations that no longer serve us, the things that are really truly draining our energy, because it's just ultimately not worth it. We have one precious life, and sometimes I feel like we spend far too much time being wrapped up in the wrong situations because we feel some sense of obligation. But actually, you don't actually owe anybody anything. You don't owe any situation anything. I mean, unless like it's your kid or, something like that, then please do look after your kids. But, also within reason, keep in mind that you are also your own person, and you have your own needs, your own desires that want to be fulfilled in this lifetime and that deserve to be fulfilled in this lifetime, So, okay, from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck over here, we have got the Fates, and then we have the Treasure Island card in the protection position. So the Fates is all about, again, Spirit. This is like Spirit being like, I got you. Don't worry about a thing. You are on the right path. I will protect you. I will keep you safe. This is all working out in your favor. Ultimately, this is exactly what needs to be happening. You're protected. Spirit has got you. So I'll read from the book. It says, fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. Okay, so the oracle's message is the Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God grant me this. Sorry, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for the greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So this is making me think of this Six of Swords here in reverse. Like I said, maybe there are some things that have genuinely maybe taken their toll on you and maybe knocked you back a little bit. And I watched another video this weekend. I was cleaning the house for like 6 hours. And so I had when I do that, I will put my earphones on and I'll just like zone in and I'll just listen to podcasts. And one of the podcasts that I listened to this weekend was specifically talking about, soul loss and soul retrieval. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but the concept of it is that, if we experience certain things in life sometimes, that there are pieces of our soul that can be lost through that experience, either through trauma or whatever the case may be, and that there's a piece of us that kind of dies or goes away. And typically, shamans will be responsible for helping us to find those pieces of ourselves again, to reconnect ourselves. But there's obviously other ways of doing this. I can link all these videos below. I'll try to remember to link them all if you're curious. But this makes me think of this: when something happens, it can be so draining, and it can sometimes cause us to lose a piece of ourselves or to lose a little bit of our spark, and I think I mentioned that sparkiness earlier. But just remember that it is always working out for your highest good. Even if it doesn't feel like it, sometimes things don't make sense until much, much later, where you look back and you go, okay, if I hadn't had that negative or unpleasant experience, I would never have been able to help this person when they were going through the same thing and be there for them. I would never have worked on myself to become the person that I am today if I hadn't had that awful thing happen to me, right? So often it can be spiritually guided things that happen to us that, even though they're so unpleasant, they end up being a massive blessing in our life. And I have had experiences like this before. I was attacked 2 years ago while out walking on the beach, and it was one of the best things that happened to me ever in my life, because it forced me to reach out and ask for help, which was something that I still struggle with it, but I'm a lot better. And I basically considered that experience the catalyst for me having to genuinely look at my ability to receive assistance and help and be vulnerable. So I'm very grateful for that, but it was a horrible experience, so it's just bringing that up again as an example to say that sometimes these things that can happen genuinely do actually help us, because they can be triggers and catalysts for our own growth. So if there is something that's happened to you right now and you do feel like you need to move on from that space, go inside, give yourself the space and time that you need, as we had the advice from this card as well, to just spend in time inside, internal, and really trying to understand what it is that you need from yourself. Then we have the Treasure Island. Sorry, I was trying to read upside down. It is a number 9, and we have a number 17 here as well. We've actually got 2 9s as well, so it could also indicate that we are reaching the end of a cycle for ourselves, so that's always a positive thing. This could just be things closing out. And sometimes when things close out, they can be painful, because we are genuinely just like, we're exhausted, we're tired, we're over it. Like, things have, there's so much things that have built out, but it is exciting as well at the same time, because it does indicate that there is something new coming. So the essential meanings of Treasure Island is the law of attraction, bringing dreams into fruition, the result of positive thinking made manifest, abundance appearing as if from nowhere, financial gains, and the sharing of good fortune. But we do have it in the protection message. So I am going to read this protection message. It says, poverty consciousness and a sense of not enough cast a shadow on your path. These ideas and core beliefs come with a high cost. Do you really want to proclaim yourself a victim of disappointment and failed expectations? Ooh, that's a deep question. Are you avoiding success because you will grow so tall that others will want to cut you down? I believe they call that the tall poppy syndrome. Or is it possible that you're caught up in a fear that you will lose what you've acquired, so you hold on so tight that you miss the opportunities to expand? You are challenged to change the way you see the world and move from a perception of limitations to a perception of abundance. Take a risk, for you have nothing to lose except your confinement in a prison of your own making. Open the door and find the abundance waiting for you to claim it. Wow, that is so beautiful. And I want to point out that when I started this reading, we had this 9 of Pentacles, but then we also had the King of Pentacles at the back of the deck, which I'll put over here. So I do think that there is abundance waiting to come through as well. And I mean, this whole reading actually could be connected to financial strains. So if that has been something that's been weighing on you recently, I do want to encourage you to spend a little bit of time genuinely thinking about that, and understanding, how is it connected to your feelings, your deeper emotions, your childhood patterns, the unconscious things that we hold within our energetic field. And then how can you visualize, right, to see yourself as this 9 of Pentacles or this King of Pentacles. Again, maybe you need to be a little bit more selfish, in the sense that instead of putting your focus on everybody else, think, okay, well, how can I generate that for myself? If you are somebody who's a bit too financially giving, because I know some of us are like that, and we want to help everyone else around us, and we don't think about ourselves, that could also be an indication here of that it is time to really genuinely look at that behavior and understand that behavior does not serve you ultimately, because you need to have money for yourself so that you can keep giving to other people. Because if you get yourself into financial distress, you're not going to be able to help anybody. And often you'll find that when you are in that position, there's no one to help you either. So that's just a little bit of financial advice over here. But again, I was talking to a friend of mine last week about this, and I know she loves these readings, so I hope that she's watching this today as well, and taking it as another sign that, this is definitely something to pay attention to. But we were chatting about this, and how, how these things really can come from childhood and be so unconscious, and until we identify them, we cannot change them. So the first step is just identifying them. And if you know about them, you can start to work towards shifting that out of your energetic field, out of your consciousness. And remember that it is also a journey. It is not all going to happen overnight, and often these things are very layered. So you will see that you will shift one, and then it reveals another deeper one underneath it. So just keep on doing the inner work that you need to do in order to shift these things, because it is entirely possible. And I am going to end the reading there, but I just want to once again thank you for your beautiful support, your beautiful presence. I would love, love, love to hear from you in the comments. If there is something else that stood out for you in the reading, please do let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And if you enjoyed the reading and you'd like to receive these readings every Monday, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when my readings come out. And I am wishing you a stunningly beautiful week and sending you lots and lots of love.